Here's the thing. It is the unintended consequences of small changes that change the world. Part 1. While sex is good, women's engagement in the modern economy, that's better. So, humanity has been developing new medicines for thousands of years, and yet throughout all that time, only one has had the impact deserving of the singular title, the pill. More properly known as the combined oral contraceptive pill, or COCP, the pill is a form of hormonal birth control. When taken correctly, the hormones progesterone and estrogen alter the menstrual cycle to stop ovulation and prevent pregnancy. That's the sciencey part. Yet, describing the pill only in terms of its contraceptive intent dramatically underplays the impact it has had on women's reproductive autonomy and, through that, helped shape the modern workforce. This is a bold statement to make, and yet with unprecedented freedom to plan child pairing, irrespective of choices regarding intimate and sexual relationships, women's investment in their education and careers grew exponentially in the 60s and the 70s. A quick history lesson. The modern fight for reproductive rights can be traced back to nurse and activist Margaret Sanger. In 1914, she first coined the phrase birth control and openly challenged social and legal norms throughout her life. Indeed, it was her second arrest and trial in 1917 that actually helped spark the birth control movement in the US. At the time, author H.G. Wells wrote, "The movement she started will grow to be, 100 years from now, the most influential of all time. When the history of our civilization is written, it will be a biological history, and Margaret Sanger will be its heroine." The contraceptive potential of steroid hormones had been known since the 1930s, but it was extraordinarily expensive to produce. In the 1950s, Sanger approached reproductive physiologist Gregory Pincus to support his research on hormonal contraceptives. After official funding and support stalled, Sanger brought in suffragist and philanthropist Catherine McCormick, who committed to accelerate the research, and she provided 50 times the previous funding. By 1956, and in collaboration with scientists, chemists, and gynecologists from around the world, the first human trials commenced. I have to pause here to highlight that these initial human trials were fraught with significant ethical controversy, especially with the Puerto Rican cohort who were not informed of the potential health risks of testing the new drug. This is a black mark on the story, and one unfortunately never fully resolved. Back on the US mainland, in 1957, the US FDA approved the pill for menstrual disorders, but not for birth control. As Time magazine noted, the late 50s saw a sudden epidemic of menstrual irregularity among women across the US, showing that where there's a pill, there's a way. It wasn't until May 1960 that the pill was finally approved for contraceptive use. Now, on paper, the pill is one of the most effective forms of reversible contraception, with an effectiveness of 99.7%. What isn't written on the label is that, unlike most prior forms of contraception, the pill separated the decision for contraception from the act of sex. And it was a personal choice for women. Women suddenly had better control over their reproductive options and could plan independently of their partners. Which leads us to the unintended consequences that changed the world. While there are other factors at play, studies show that putting the cost of sex on a woman's education and career within their direct control opened up more opportunities and choices than ever before. On average, women are getting married later, having their first child later, and having fewer children overall, without choosing to forego intimate and sexual relationships. Research by Golden and Katz showed that since the 1960s, birth control innovations contributed to the dramatic increase in women's education and participation in the labor market. Golden and Katz also found that the pill created a social multiplier effect by encouraging the delay of marriage and thus increasing a career woman's likelihood of finding an appropriate mate after professional school. Other studies show that, in the US, access to the pill reduced the college dropout rate for women by 35%, and accounted for more than 30% of the increase in the proportion of women in skilled careers from 1970 to 1990. While there is still a long way to go, The pill also forced a discussion on women's rights and reproductive autonomy, which led to broad sweeping social, political, and religious change, which in turn led to greater empowerment and equality between women and men in both professional and private spheres. Unfortunately, this part of the story isn't over yet. It's a black mark on our global society that inequality in the cost of reproduction, the division of labour, and the gender pay gap have not been resolved, and shamefully little progress is being made. But here's the thing. 60 years ago, one small pharmaceutical innovation began a disruption that changed the world. And it still is. So while it might feel like we are living in an age of disruption, it has always been that way.